Chapter 1401 Fallacies. A flock of imaginary cawing crows flew over Qiao Nan's head. She almost wanted to scold Deng Wenchang, "Are you sick? What nonsense are you sprouting? Who is the one dreaming here?" Qiao Nan was not sure what was wrong with Deng Wenchang. She did not wish to waste her breath by speaking to him. Hence, she focused on her own tasks. In the next few days, when Qiao Nan's eyes accidentally met with those of Deng Wenchang, the latter always gave such eccentric and odd vibes. It was increasingly serious with the passing of each day. Sometimes, Qiao Nan could not help avoiding lifting her head and facing Deng Wenchang's direction. However, Deng Wenchang was acting like a lunatic. Qiao Nan could even sense his stare even if she did not look up. If not for the fact that Deng Wenchang had never been friendly to her and was different from other young guys who, out of ignorance, used bullying as a tactic to interact with girls that they fancied, Qiao Nan almost suspected that Deng Wenchang was interested in her. Besides Qiao Nan, other people in the department were not blind either. Deng Wenchang's attention on Qiao Nan had drawn their attention. They could not fault Qiao Nan for having such a misunderstanding. If not for the fact that Deng Wenchang had such an aggrieved expression clouded with anxiety and sorrow whenever he looked at Qiao Nan, those with brains would also misunderstand the meaning behind Deng Wenchang's incessant stares. Fortunately, He had already informed the department that despite Qiao Nan's young age and fresh college graduate identity, she was already married. In addition, her partner was a soldier and it was thus a military marriage. After knowing that Qiao Nan was married, many people in the department dismissed thoughts of matchmaking for Qiao Nan. Since everyone was aware of this, they naturally thought that Deng Wenchang would know too. With his identity as an overseas graduate, Deng Wenchang already looked down on Qiao Nan for being a local graduate who had not once traveled overseas. How could he possibly fancy a married woman like Qiao Nan? Deng Wenchang's behavior was too bizarre. Someone could not help informing He Yi about this situation and requested He Yi to pay more attention to it. No one was certain what kind of ruckus and fallacies Deng Wenchang would stir up next time. Hence, prevention was better than cure. After He Yi knew about it, he spoke to Qiao Nan. Qiao Nan told He Yi not to worry as she did not have any chance to be with Deng Wenchang alone. No matter what ideas Deng Wenchang was having, it was not so easy to execute them. Under such awkward and odd atmosphere, Qiao Nan sat for an entire day. When she arrived home, she felt weary at heart and could not help considering if she should seek the help of her senior brother, He Yi, to change her seat. As long as she was not sitting directly opposite Deng Wenchang, her life would be much better. "Auntie, hug, hug." Just as she arrived home, Qiao Nan's calves were greeted by a little cute thing. Qiao Nan looked down and saw Xiao Bao. "Xiao Bao, why are you at maternal grandma's house? Your mom is back." She had not heard anything about it. Shouldn't Sister Zihua be in the camp? The little cute thing held onto her calves tightly. Qiao Nan had no choice but to carry Tianyu up first before entering the house. "Mom, why is Xiao Bao in our house?" Miaojing looked at Tianyu with relief. "I'm really not boasting about this kid. Fortunately, his character resembles that of Dongzi. He's totally different from Hua Hua. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to handle 4 kids in the house all at once." Her 3 paternal grandchildren were much naughtier than her maternal grandson. The corners of Qiao Nan's mouth twitched. She did not seem to have asked this question. "Xiao Bao's grandma is willing to put his precious grandson with us. Especially when Sister Zihua was not around. One had to know that Xiao Bao was Mother Tian's lifeline." Miaojing patted her own thigh. "That's not something of her choice. The nanny that the Tian family hired is on half a month's leave now as her son was getting married. She left 3 days ago. Yesterday, Xiao Bao's grandmother caught a cold and it seemed quite serious. They were afraid that they would spread the cold to Xiao Bao. Hence, they sent him to us. The nanny was on leave and Xiao Bao's grandmother was unwell. There were only 2 men left in the house. How would they know how to take care of a small kid like Xiao Bao? The Tian family also had no choice but to send this precious darling to the Zai family temporarily and let the Zai family take care of him for a few days. After knowing the reason, Xiao Nan gave Xiao Bao a kiss on his face. Is Xiao Bao sleeping with your cousins or maternal grandparents today? Xiao Bao seldom had sleepovers at the Zai family. After all, the residences of the two families were located quite close by. The Tian family also had cars and it was very convenient to drive to and fro. Even if Xiao Bao were to stay overnight, he basically slept with Zai Hua. Xiao Bao chuckled like a little Buddha and said cleverly, "Sleep with auntie." That voice was so loud and clear. San Bao looked at Xiao Bao angrily. "Mom is sleeping with us." Xiao Bao titled his head and swirled his eyeballs. He said with his baby voice in a negotiating tone, "Sleep together." As long as he could sleep with auntie, he did not mind his cousins being on the same bed. San Bao snorted. "On the account that you are my cousin, all right, I agree." If she was not the one who came up with Xiao Bao's name, she would not allow him to sleep with them either. This little bad egg. He was always pestering her mother and auntie never cared. Xiao Bao kicked and Xiao Nan let him down. As soon as Xiao Bao's feet touched the ground, he ran toward San Bao, swaying from side to side like a duck, and hugged her. He greeted her sweetly with a sister and then kissed her on the face. This was because Xiao Bao knew that whenever he did this, his biological grandparents would be very happy. However, Xiao Bao did not know that San Bao was different from his grandparents. San Bao only liked her mother to kiss her. She shunned others' excessive saliva except for those from her mother's kisses. In particular, as Xiao Bao was still very young, he had smeared her entire face with saliva with one kiss. San Bao grimaced and she almost cried. "Mom, my face doesn't feel comfortable." "Wipe. Not pretty anymore." Seeing that her nephew had made her daughter cry, Xiao Nan quickly carried San Bao into the toilet and helped her wash her face. "See, isn't it good now? San Bao is pretty now. San Bao is a big kid and a lady. Xiao Bao is still young and doesn't know many things. San Bao is the elder sister. You will help us take care of Xiao Bao. Right?" San Bao looked at herself in the mirror for a long time to confirm that her little face was still as pretty as before. She then nodded reluctantly. "Okay, I will take care of Xiao Bao and play with him next time. However, he cannot kiss me in the future. It's all sticky saliva. So uncomfortable." Looking at San Bao's wrinkled pinkish face and red little lips that were pouting so much that it could hang a sauce bottle, Xiao Nan could not stop smiling. 1402 Yet another business expansion. Aren't you ashamed of yourself for complaining about Xiao Bao? When the three of you were younger, you liked to pout and give kisses to other people. The triplets would give kisses to the elders at home. No one shunned their kisses that smelled of milk. Everyone loved it. San Bao flung her head. Her hair volume had increased. The little plaits on her head had turned longer and they bounced as she flung her head. "I don't remember anything that you said. I am older now, and I am the big sister. I won't do something so childish." San Bao was close to saying that her mother lied to her as her closing statement. "All right. You are the big sister. Let's go. Xiao Bao is waiting for you. Since you gave Xiao Bao his pet name, you must treat him nicer than everyone else. Xiao Bao likes you very much. Let's not make him wait for too long, shall we?" Her daughter still looked very adorable despite being stubborn. True enough, everything about her children was perfect. San Bao felt much better now that she was able to preserve her dignity. She puffed her chest and nodded. "Xiao Bao is small, but he has a big tummy. He must be hungry now. Mama, let's hurry. We must not let him go hungry. If he is hungry, he will cry like a small baby. Xiao Bao is already more than 1 year old. When will he grow up?" San Bao had a worried look on her face. Xiaonan found her expression to be very adorable. Now that Xiao Bao is still very young, San Bao, you must take extra care of him because you are the big sister. You are right. Xiao Bao is hungry. We must not let babies go hungry. The little girl was still a toddler, yet she sighed in exasperation that Xiao Bao was a baby and wondered when he would grow up. What a funny girl! San Bao held her mother's hands and walked with a bounce to look for Xiao Bao. She had no idea that her mother had unspoken criticism of her. They reached the living room and noticed that Xiao Bao was looking at them with apprehensive eyes. San Bao ran up to him and took his hands. Xiao Bao, are you hungry? I will bring you to have food. Xiao Bao's eyes lit up. He patted his tummy. He was indeed hungry and he wanted food. San Bao smiled smugly at Xiaonan. She had done a good job as the elder sister. She knew what Xiao Bao was thinking about, and Xiao Bao loved her very much. Since he was so well behaved, she would allow him to plant a kiss on her cheeks next time. The four children sat side by side. It was a funny sight and it also went to show that the Zai family was very large. Apart from the Zai family, no other family would have 4 children at home. The triplets were already 3 years old. Among the triplets, De Bao insisted on eating by himself, while Er Bao and San Bao grew to dislike it when the adults fed them under his influence. Since the adults could not dissuade them, the adults could only prepare small spoons for the triplets. Xiaonan remembered that decades later, people would use small and clean training chopsticks specially designed to train children to use chopsticks. Therefore, Xiaonan made a sketch of the chopsticks and asked Tiandong for help. Tiandong knew more business contacts and had more knowledge in that area. It should not be difficult to produce such small utensils. Tiandong was a father. In the past, he would be nonchalant when he saw related stuff. But things were different now. Whenever he saw baby products, he would not care if he had similar products at home and would buy a bunch of them for his son's future use. Therefore, Tiandong found the training chopsticks to be a good idea. Besides, he believed that if he mass-produced the training chopsticks, there would be a demand in the market. The economy was booming and the standard of living had been increasing. Everyone had an increasing income but they did not have many children at home. Therefore, no matter how expensive it was, the parents would be willing to provide the best for their child. In that case, there would be a huge demand for baby and mother products. Tiandong was a businessman and he could tell that this was a great business opportunity. An idea came to his mind and Tiandong started up a mother and infant products company. He intended to venture into this industry. Once he was successful, if he needed any products for his child in the future, there was no need to purchase it from elsewhere. He could then get it from his company. Furthermore, since this was his own business, he could ensure that the products manufactured were of the highest quality. He did not want to have the good intentions but ended up bringing harm to his child. Zihua had to return to the army. Unlike Xiaonan, she could not provide breast milk for her child for as long as she could. Xiao Bao was still young. Since he could not have breast milk, he could only have baby formula. There was once when the Tian family had run out of baby formula and the baby formula from overseas had yet to arrive. Xiao Bao was hungry but he had no baby formula to drink. Tiandong thought of buying the baby formula in the country before the stock from overseas arrived in another half a month. When Xiaonan learned about this, she immediately made a phone call to Tiandong to stop him. After Xiaonan had been through rebirth, she remembered that there was once when a certain brand of baby formula contained melamine and it ended up to be a big scandal. Many children from multiple families were victims of the toxic baby formula. Since Xiaonan knew about this problem, she could never allow her children as well as Zihua's child to drink toxic baby formula. She sent all the remaining baby formula that had yet to expire to the Tian family. She also gave Tiandong a gentle reminder about the problem with the baby formula. Apart from Tiandong, Xiaonan also let Xi Peng in on this. After all, Xi Peng would be able to do more in his capacity as a government official. If possible, Xiaonan hoped that she could reduce the number of children who suffered from the baby formula scandal, reducing the number of victims as much as possible. If she was not a mother, she would be indifferent about it. Besides, since 2010, people would have the mindset that other countries would have a stricter set of rules and regulations to ensure the quality of the products. Xiaonan had the same thinking as well. Therefore, it was just a second instinct for her to get people to buy baby formula from overseas for the triplets. She was only reminded of the baby formula scandal recently. Luckily, the shortage of baby formula in the Tian family jolted Xiaonan's memory and she remembered the scandal about the baby formula. The children were the flowers of the nation, the future of the country. Especially now that every family only had one child, if something happened to their only child, it would be devastating to the two families. Once Tiandong and Xi Peng learned about it, they began working on it and checked whether the situation was really as what Xiaonan had said. In the end, Xi Peng discovered that Xiaonan was right. He was so furious that his eyes turned red. Xi Qing and Zhu Baoquo had graduated, and they had been together for some time. As a father, he knew what was going on. Xi Peng had discussed with Zhu Qingqi and agreed roughly on a time for their children to hold the wedding and collect the marriage certificate if possible. After the marriage, they would be waiting to get their grandchild. Xi Qing and Zhu Baoquo were preoccupied with their work in the army. It would be a problem as to who would take care of the child in the future. Elder Zhu from the Zhu family was not in good health. He would not last for more than 2 years. Zhu Qingqi was busy with work as well, so it was not feasible for the Zhu family to take care of the child. 1403 Done a good deed. As for the Xi family, Xi Peng did not expect that his parents would help take care of the baby. He would be glad if they could watch their behavior and did not create trouble for him. As for him, although he was just as busy, his wife had all the time in the world. If he really had a grandchild, Feng Cheng would be occupied and she could play with her maternal grandchild. Since he had already thought of who would take care of the child after the child was born, undoubtedly, he would have thought of the issue of feeding the baby as well. As the mother, Xi Qing had no time to take care of the baby. All the more she would have no time to breastfeed the baby. Like Tian Yu, Xi Qing's child would have to drink baby formula. However, Xi Peng was conservative and old-fashioned in some aspects. There were many brands of baby formula in his country and several of them were quite famous and were widely received by the consumers. Since his country had their own baby formulas, why would he have blind worship of foreign goods and ideas and buy the baby formulas from overseas? Why would he let foreigners stand to gain? The Xi family would never do that. He did not care how the Zai family and the Tian family raised their children. It was none of his business. Xi Peng had a different opinion from them, but he would not be obnoxious to persuade the Zai family and the Tian family to support local products. However, he would make the decision as to what brand of baby formula his grandchild should have in the future. Xi Peng was patriotic and insisted on supporting local products. However, he did not expect that he had yet to have a grandchild when a certain local brand of baby formula ended up giving him a tight slap to his face. With Tiandong's help, they conducted random checks on baby formulas from all over the country. In the end, the results were as Xiaonan had said. There was a big problem with the baby formula. Xi Peng was all ready to buy local brand baby formula for his grandchild. When he learned of the results, he was so furious that he felt like killing someone. The country's economy was doing well, and everyone was earning more than before. Even if the products were of high quality, the bosses of the factories would have made a lot of profits from the mass production of the products. One did not expect that men would be so greedy. Men had insatiable desires indeed. Their carnal cravings were never satisfied and were the main obstruction on the path to enlightenment. They wanted to earn lots of money against their conscience. They should be shot to death for being so unscrupulous. Thankfully, they discovered the problem with the baby formula before it got worse. Otherwise, Xi Peng could not imagine the countless number of children that would have suffered from the toxic baby formula. Xiaonan breathed a sigh of relief when she knew that the toxic baby formula had been discovered before the problem had turned worse. Luckily, the impact was not as serious. The news of the toxic baby formula caused an uproar in society, but the government kept everything under control and it did not cause further alarm in the society. Xiaonan did not feel that it was because of her that the problem was resolved. She only hoped that all the babies in China could grow up to be healthy and strong. After the incident with the toxic baby formula, Tiandong realized the importance of the baby and mother products industry. It was not because of money that spurred him to venture into this industry again. He only wished that his child would not come into contact with all these toxic products that failed to meet the standard. It was a coincidence that Xiaonan had been through rebirth. Therefore, she was well aware of the events and happenings in the next decade. Since Xiaonan was considered as a minor shareholder of the Tian Corporation, Tiandong decided to cooperate with Xiaonan to work on the mother and baby products industry. The training chopsticks became one of the products that were being mass manufactured. Since her family was into the production of the baby and mother products, Xiaonan could take whatever that she needed for the 4 children at home. They would no longer lack any daily household items in the future. The triplets had gotten used to using the training chopsticks to have meals. Although they still needed more practice, they had already got the hang of it. Xiao Bao watched as his elder brothers and sister used the training chopsticks to eat, while he was being fed by the adults. Xiao Bao was full of admiration for his elder brothers and sisters. Xiaonan could tell that Xiao Bao could not wait to use the training chopsticks. Although she did not teach him how to use it, she prepared a pair of training chopsticks for him. Xiao Bao was very sensible. When he was having meals, he would grab the training chopsticks with one hand and poke at the rice and vegetables in his bowl with the training chopsticks. He would not wave the chopsticks in the air or poke himself accidentally. He would open his mouth for his food, like a young bird waiting for food, emptying all the contents on the spoon. Nan Nan, shall I feed him? The auntie noticed that Xiaonan had yet to have her meal and was feeding Xiao Bao. Xiaonan had just returned from work and she must be tired. The triplets had finally grown older and they could learn to do things by themselves. Xiaonan could finally lighten her load. Now that Xiao Bao was here, it seemed as if Xiaonan returned to the days where the triplets were still 1 year old. It was rare that Xiao Bao, who was well behaved, made known his feelings. He grabbed his small bowl tightly, shaking his head at the helper. No, no, auntie, feed me, auntie, feed me. He did not want other people to feed him. Xiaonan smiled as she rejected the auntie's kind gestures. It's all right. Xiao Bao is very well behaved. There is no need for me to coax him. He will take the food that I give him obediently. He will finish them in no time. I can do it. Auntie, you can help me keep a watch on the triplets. The auntie did not insist any further. She looked at the triplets proudly. The triplets are so well behaved. They are young but they are very sensible. One would feel hungry when one looks at them when they are eating. Madame Zai could not help but have more food when she looks at the way they are eating. The chief also said that Madame seemed to have put on weight recently. I have seen quite a lot of children around the triplets' age in the quad, but the parents have to chase after them to feed them. On the other hand, the triplets were already learning to have the meals by themselves, and they would finish the food happily. They would empty the bowl of rice, not leaving a single grain of rice behind. The auntie did not need to do much. She only needed to keep a watch on the triplets while they had their meals. If they wanted to have certain food but it was out of their reach, the auntie would use the serving chopsticks to get it for them. Xiaonan smiled at the way the auntie praised the triplets. If they did not have a good appetite, they would not be chubby. Compared to children from other families who were slim, her children were considered to be on the chubby side. It's good for the children to be slightly chubby. Moreover, those are not fat. Those are muscles. They are similar to their dad. Miao Jing put in good words for her grandchildren. The three children seemed to know the difference between fats and muscles. They knew that muscles were good, while fats were not. Therefore, they would raise their arms, saying that they did not have fats. Instead, they had firm and strong muscles. Xiao Nan glanced at the three little toddlers. How was it possible that toddlers would have muscles? They were soft and tender. They were only slightly stronger than when they were young. However, they were so chubby that one could not feel their bones. 1404 Keeping a watch on the Zai family. It must be because the children kept pestering her mother-in-law that she said those words to coax them. After the meals, Xiao Nan held Xiao Bao in her arms as she made a phone call to the Tian family. Xiao Bao had a limited vocabulary. He would also jump from one topic to another. He had yet to finish the current sentence and he would go on to talk about other topics. Although most of his sentences did not make sense, Mother Tian would turn soft-hearted when she chatted with him. Mother Tian would be overjoyed whenever she chatted with her grandson. She would take a long time to end the call as she could not bear to part with her grandson. Xiao Bao, I will recover very soon. By then, I will get your father to fetch you. Xiao Bao, I miss you terribly. Mother Tian was almost in tears at her grandson's baby voice. It had been many days since she saw her grandson, and she could not hold her grandson who smelled nice and soft. Now that her grandson was not at home, Mother Tian felt scary staring at the house that she lived in. She was so lonely that she felt desolate. It was worse than her cold virus. Grandma. Be good. Take medicine. Take injections. Get well soon. Go back a few days later. Accompany Grandma. Xiao Bao had a sweet tongue. Although he was sitting comfortably in his auntie's embrace, he still remembered to coax his grandma. He talked to his grandma on the phone with his auntie's help. While chatting on the phone, he would play with his auntie using his two hands. He was awfully busy. Xiao Bao seemed to know that his grandma had not recovered yet and he would not go back home to accompany his grandma anytime soon. He could continue to stay with his auntie and play with his elder brothers and sister. Xiao Bao felt that he was blessed to lead such a life. Mother Tian had no idea what was on Xiao Bao's mind and turned soft-hearted at his baby voice. He even reminded her to be good and to take medicine and injections, hoping that she would recover as soon as possible. Mother Tian was so touched by his words of concern. All right, I will listen to Xiao Bao. Xiao Bao, I miss you terribly. I will recover as soon as possible so that I can play with you. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Mother Tian missed her grandson very much. After saying what he wanted, Xiao Bao kissed the phone and ended the call without the slightest hesitation. He turned to snuggle into Xiao Nan's embrace. Auntie, wash cleanly and sleep with brothers and sister. Xiao Bao felt that he was blessed to have his beloved auntie, his closest brothers, and sister with him. Xiao Nan carried Xiao Bao with her. All right, let's go upstairs to wash cleanly and go to sleep. Actually, not only was Xiao Bao tired, but the triplets were sleepy as well. If not for the fact that Xiao Bao was sleepy, Mother Tian would have wanted to chat with him throughout the night. Anyway, the Zai family and the Tian family could afford the telephone bills. It was more important to have a good time chatting on the phone. Mom, what's wrong? Perhaps the four children were exhausted from playing all day long. Xiao Nan had yet to finish one bedtime story, but all of them, snuggled in bed, were fast asleep. Right then, someone knocked on the door. Xiao Nan opened the door to see her mother-in-law, Miao Jing. Mom, did the Qiao family call you to ask anything of you? Qiao Zijin was getting married. The first and foremost problem would be the dowry. In the previous life, even after the marriage, Qiao Zijin insisted on asking for more. In this life, since Qiao Nan was married well and Qiao Zijin had Qian Nan's wedding as a reference, Qiao Zijin would become greedier and make more requests of her. Qiao Zijin knew that Qiao Dongliang and Ding Jiyi did not have much money. No matter how hard she tried, she would not be able to get much money from them. Therefore, Qiao Zijin turned to target Qiao Nan. Furthermore, Qiao Nan had been her target right from the start. Qiao Zijin would not compromise easily in order to marry well. Seeing that her mother-in-law was at the door, the first problem that Qiao Nan thought of was naturally Qiao Zijin. In fact, Qiao Nan would naturally associate all problems with Qiao Zijin. Qiao Zijin had to blame herself for being untrustworthy. No. This has nothing to do with the Qiao family. It is just that there seemed to be strangers who loitered around the entrance of the quad. They seemed to be up to no good. You have to work in the daytime. You must be careful when you go out. Remember. You must never go out or return home alone. If the chauffeur is busy, your dad and I have decided that we could hire another chauffeur. It was all right to spend money to hire another chauffeur. After all, they could always earn the money that was spent. Nothing was more important than their safety. If anything happened, one could never turn back time. It had only been a few years since Zai Sheng married Qiao Nan. Zai Yaowai and Miaojing did not wish for their son to become a widower or for the 3 smart grandchildren to be without their mother. That would be a pitiful sight. Are you saying that strangers loiter around but nobody did anything? It was ridiculous that this could happen at the entrance of the quad in the military zone. This was the capital. How could the evildoers be so brazen and bold? These people are quite a distance away from the entrance of the quad in the military zone, and they didn't do anything that would put the quad in the military zone in danger. You must know that one has to commit crimes to be considered going against the law. No one would say anything if one did not do anything illegal. If one did not do anything that would endanger other people but only loiter around at the entrance, the most that one could do was to give them a verbal warning. However, they had already used that method but it was useless. Qiao Nan nodded. All right, I will take note of this. Mom, don't worry. They are only loitering around the entrance, but we should still pay more attention. When you bring the children out to take a walk under the sun, you should bring more people with you. If not, you can ask Dongzi for help. The Zai family did not have enough adults around, but it should not be the case for the Tian family. It had been so many days. Since Mother Tian already missed her grandson terribly, Tian Dong must have missed his son as well. She did not believe that he did not miss him. If the father did not come to check on his son, Xiao Bao might become part of the Zai family. Okay, I will talk to Dongzi tomorrow. Miaojing valued the safety of the children. She valued her 3 grandchildren as well as her maternal grandson. The 4 of them were very precious to her. As soon as Qiao Nan went to work the next day, Miaojing gave a call to Tian Dong, asking him for advice. How can there be such a thing? The quad in the military zone is an important place. Security should not be a problem since many important chiefs resided in that place. If anything happened to the quad in the military zone, it would be a big issue for China. Notwithstanding suspicious characters, a mosquito could not even be allowed entry. Security should be very tight. 1405 Who is the loser? Mom, prevention is better than cure. After I knock off from work today I will send someone over there. Mom, what do you think? He believed that the security at the quad in the military zone was very tight. But now that this had happened, Tian Dong could not afford a single error as this concerned his son's safety. Although this might turn out to be a fruitless attempt, he would never save on the money or effort. Okay, it's better to get this done as soon as possible. You should make the arrangements right away. There might be suspicious characters at the quad in the military zone, but it was still safer than other places. The Zai family's residence did not have any people who were nursing illnesses like the Tian family. Tian Dong could not take his son back home as his mother was sick. It would only cause further distress at home. Tian Dong preferred actions to words. Since this concerned his son, he did not dare to procrastinate. Those suspicious characters loitered outside the quad for several days until the day Qiaonan and Deng Wenchang were expected to receive the ambassador couple. Everyone in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was busy with arranging the schedule and tasks for today. Qiaonan took a thick stack of materials with her. She flipped through them quickly, getting the materials ready for He Yi. After completing her task, Qiaonan handed the materials to He Yi. He flipped several pages to ascertain that everything was all right before he gestured for Qiaonan to leave the office. Qiaonan swiped her hands after completing her task. She realized that her duties at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs were similar to what she used to do when she was in school. There did not seem to have any difference. She would need to do a lot of writings every day to the extent that her hands were sore. At times, when it was really hectic at the ministry, she would be several times busier than when she was at school. Now that Qiaonan had finally finished with all the writing, she pinched her sore hands, wanting to take a breather. However, Deng Wenchang cast his sinister and unreasonable glance at Qiaonan once again. It was as if he was trying to see through her. Qiaonan turned her head to one side, avoiding Deng Wenchang's gaze as usual. There was no other office or working space in the ministry. If Qiaonan wanted to sit elsewhere, she would have to change her seat with one of the seniors. However, what made Qiaonan frustrated was that Deng Wenchang had failed terribly as a person. There were many people in the ministry, but nobody was willing to change seats with her to sit opposite to Deng Wenchang. After knowing that everyone rejected her request to change seats, Qiaonan felt like asking Deng Wenchang if he had such a bad personality that everyone shunned him. Since no one was willing to change seats with her, the unwilling Qiaonan had no other choice but to continue to sit at her original seat. She had to wait until one of the seniors in the department left the ministry for any other reasons, leaving the office empty, in order to move elsewhere. Seeing that Qiaonan did not say anything to his odd behavior, Deng Wenchang continued with his old ways. Qiaonan almost could not take it anymore and felt like digging his eyes out. Are you putting on airs now that you are the daughter-in-law of the Zai family? Are you looking down on your colleague? The young mistress of the Zai family, if you want to put on airs, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not the place for you. You should go back to where you come from. Qiaonan was the young mistress of the Zai family. She should enjoy life with the Zai family. Why did she come to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to snatch the job from him? Now that Qiaonan was married to Zai Sheng, she was assured that she would not go hungry for the rest of her life. She no longer lacked anything, so why did she insist on joining the ministry? One should not be too greedy. Otherwise, one would suffer retribution. I suggest you save this for yourself. Aren't you here to be the young master? If you don't have the correct working attitude, I suggest that you give up the position to other talented people. Qiaonan had been tolerating Deng Wenchang, yet he reached out for a yard after taking an inch. Deng Wenchang, as a man, why do you behave like a woman and have so many complaints? Don't you find it a bother? Don't you feel ashamed? Don't forget that today is an important day. Do you intend to let the ambassador couple know that you don't get along well with me and for them to laugh at us, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and even China? Young man, will you please be serious and use your brains at work? Deng Wenchang turned green in anger. He felt like slapping Qiaonan, who had a bold and fearless expression on her face. Qiaonan, don't be too smug. We shall see who will have the last laugh. Qiaonan did not do anything for the past 5 days. Therefore, he was certain that the additional information that he had researched on was far more detailed than the information that Qiaonan had. He could not tell what game Qiaonan was up to. Could it be that Qiaonan had admitted defeat even before the war had started? Although Deng Wenchang always felt that he was more competent than Qiaonan, he wanted to win fair and square so that everyone at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs would know that he was the rising star in the ministry. He wanted everyone to realize that it was a waste to put their hopes on Qiaonan or treat her nicely. However, if Qiaonan refused to accept the challenge, no matter how well Deng Wenchang performed, one could not tell that Deng Wenchang was capable, as there was no comparison. He would not feel as happy at defeating Xiao Nan in this manner. Perhaps after seeing Deng Wenchang's splendid performance, Xiao Nan would come up with excuses for herself a few days later, saying that she was uncomfortable and thus made a blunder and did not perform as good as Deng Wenchang. He should be proud that he defeated Xiao Nan with his outstanding performance. But if Xiao Nan came up with this excuse, it would seem as if it was by sheer luck that he defeated Xiao Nan. Deng Wenchang refused to suffer such grievances. It was none of his business that Xiao Nan did not do any research and was being overly confident. As the saying went, the moon waxes only to wane, water brims only to overflow. He would not stop Xiao Nan from doing herself in. His only wish was that Xiao Nan would suffer a crushing defeat and that she would not come up with some lame excuses to hide the fact that she was useless and continued to put on airs in front of him who was a gifted student. He found her to be irritating and annoying. Deng Wenchang was emboldened and dared to provoke Xiao Nan. The ambassador couple would be reaching the capital very soon. Even if Xiao Nan received important information now, she would not be able to memorize them within such a short period of time and use them in the exchange later. The people that Peng Yu sent to keep a watch on the Zai family ended up not being able to gather any useful information. Deng Wenchang felt as if he was being tricked. All he could do was to wait for the exchange today to make sure that Xiao Nan suffered a crushing defeat. Chapter 1406, Regrets on Wrong Move and Words. The corners of Xiao Nan's mouth twitched. At the sight of Deng Wenchang's nostrils, she could not help asking, "Deng Wenchang, did you inject chicken blood secretly? Otherwise, did Deng Wenchang need to display so much excitement?" It was as if he had eaten a stimulant and had completely lost that sinisterly cold and restrained manner. Deng Wenchang smiled scornfully. He turned his chin and did not care about talking to Xiao Nan anymore. Xiao Nan only knew how to curry favor and pretend to be obedient in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The old ones in the ministry had been bewitched by lust and had lost all their sanity. That was why they had been cajoled and distracted by Xiao Nan, treating her like a treasure. He firmly believed that the foreign ambassador couple would not be taken in by such cheap tricks of Xiao Nan. Furthermore, they would not relent just because of Xiao Nan's pretty face. If good looks were really so important, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should be renamed as the Beauty Pageant Department then. Deng Wenchang did not reply. His snort made Xiao Nan feel goosebumps all over. Xiao Nan sneered, not willing to bother about such a sicko like Deng Wenchang. She felt extremely disheartened. Deng Wenchang was itching to have a go while Xiao Nan was in alert and combat-ready mode. Very soon, the ambassador couple arrived in China and was received by He Yi. Naturally, the initial welcoming was done by He Yi. They spoke about national affairs concerning the two countries. Xiao Nan and Deng Wenchang only needed to listen attentively and conscientiously to the content of their conversation and remember the main points of it. No matter how proud and aloof Deng Wenchang was when he was in the department, thinking that he was a cut above the rest, the seniors in the department were still silently approving of his behavior during such critical times. If Deng Wenchang dared to make any mistakes at such important times, the department would send someone else to replace him at any point in time. Actually, other people did not understand this matter, but some seniors in the department did. Between these two newbies, He Yi thought more highly of Xiao Nan and wanted to delegate important tasks to her. Everyone knew this in their hearts. However, Deng Wenchang and Xiao Nan joined the department almost at the same time. Although Deng Wenchang did not perform better than Xiao Nan, he had never made any huge mistakes. Hence, if He Yi wanted to give Xiao Nan a chance, he had to bring Deng Wenchang along. Otherwise, if words were to spread, He Yi's method would ultimately attract criticism. This was also the reason why He Yi had never used any means to evict Deng Wenchang from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs despite his dissatisfaction with Deng Wenchang. To put it bluntly, Deng Wenchang felt that his opportunity was here. He did not ponder deeply that his so-called opportunity was completely due to Xiao Nan, whom he looked down on. Given this point alone, He Yi could trust Jiao Nan, but he dared not feel totally at ease with Deng Wenchang. Who could be certain that Deng Wenchang, who did not make any major mistakes normally, would definitely maintain his sanity during critical times and not act foolishly? Until this moment that Jiao Nan and Deng Wenchang took down the notes in shorthand, the person who was arranged to possibly replace Deng Wenchang adopted a more serious attitude than the two youngsters on this matter. He dared not relax at all. The meeting and discussion between He Yi and the ambassador were relatively successful. The two parties had a friendly handshake before ending the exchange this time. All of a sudden, all the cameras and videos were shooting and flashing non-stop at He Yi and the ambassador like guns and cannons. It was only when the reporters had taken down all the news materials that He Yi came down and walked toward Jiao Nan. He seemed to be telling Jiao Nan firmly with his eyes, "I am passing the entire duty of the host to you from this point onward." As for the ambitious Deng Wenchang standing beside Jiao Nan, He Yi simply ignored him. Between the ambassador couple, the most important VIP was of course the husband and not the wife. Given a combination like Jiao Nan and Deng Wenchang should be entertaining the husband while Jiao Nan the ambassador's wife. However, He Yi purposely wanted to reverse this order. The Western countries were more open-minded and advocated gender equality more than the Asian countries. Hence, he would let Jiao Nan receive the ambassador and Deng Wenchang his wife. Didn't they say that it would be less exhausting when members of the opposite gender worked together? However, the extremely confident Deng Wenchang did not know He Yi's plan at all. At the sight of the ambassador couple, he straightened the collar of his suit, tidied his sleeves and buttons, and walked forward to the couple to shake their hands, while smiling like a gentleman. Deng Wenchang was extremely satisfied with this beginning of shaking the ambassador couple's hands before Jiao Nan could do so. Women. They should obediently follow behind men. Although this was a male foreigner, he might not be entirely biased-free toward females. Otherwise, why would Western countries use male chauvinist pigs to describe machismo men? After he occupied the controlling role, Jiao Nan could only stand beside him abidingly and help him with some mundane matters. Jiao Nan could forget about snatching this opportunity away in front of him. Deng Wenchang made use of his long legs and deliberately moved a step forward to block Jiao Nan's actions. He Yi and the team could tell his intent and they frowned immediately. Although Deng Wenchang had been quite subtle, as a foreign ambassador, would he not be able to tell? He Yi was very worried that he would see a flash of scorn in the eyes of the foreign ambassador. If that was truly the case, Deng Wenchang would have embarrassed himself badly in front of the foreigners. True enough, he should have found an excuse to kick Deng Wenchang out from this event earlier and sidelined him. He wanted to give Deng Wenchang a fair chance to compete. Unexpectedly, Deng Wenchang was too incompetent. He did not grab hold of his last opportunity. Eventually, he did something so petty in front of the foreign ambassador. What a scheming guy! Deng Wenchang felt He Yi's stare on him. However, he acted as if he completely did not realize his actions. So what if he had deliberately walked faster than Jiao Nan and blocked her? As long as he performed well thereafter and did not embarrass his country, wouldn't that do? He could guarantee that with his presence. This event did not require Jiao Nan at all. He was willing to let Jiao Nan sit by the side and act like an eye candy, drink tea, and eat some melon seeds to complete the mission with him. He had allowed Jiao Nan to take so much advantage of him. He was already very good to Jiao Nan. Otherwise, if he was harsher, it was possible that he could simply stop Jiao Nan from appearing at this point in time. After a round of self-consolation, Deng Wenchang had completely neglected Jiao Nan's identity as the daughter-in-law of the Zai family. If Deng Wenchang really dared to plot against Jiao Nan at such a time and the Zai family sought revenge on Deng Wenchang, the Deng family would be forced to keep their grievances to themselves. They would not be able to seek justice. Who told Deng Wenchang to be so daring to provoke the Zai family? He deserved such retribution. If the Deng family dared to shout out their grievances, they would definitely attract a round of beating. They would feel so regretful of making the wrong move and saying the wrong words. Chapter 1407, They Really Know Each Other. Deng Wenchang did not genuinely want Jiao Nan to follow by his side and pick up the achievements in the passing. It was because he dared not do anything to Jiao Nan. If he could, Deng Wenchang would not only make Jiao Nan miss this event but also simply evict her from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That would resolve all his worries at one go. In front of the foreign ambassador, Deng Wenchang was so brazen and fearless with this cheap trick of his. He was not at all worried that he would make him leave, since that would put the country in an awkward position in front of the foreign ambassador. After shaking his hands with the couple, Deng Wenchang introduced himself. When he saw that the ambassador couple did not feel any revulsion toward him, Deng Wenchang then specially mentioned that he had been to the United Kingdom before when he was studying overseas. He had a deep impression of the United Kingdom and even praised it for being a wonderful country. When Deng Wenchang felt that he had established enough presence in front of the couple and won a positive first impression, he gently stepped aside as if he had just recalled that Jiao Nan was behind him. "Please allow me to introduce." "Oh, Jiao." Just as Deng Wenchang moved slightly, revealing Jiao Nan behind him, and before he could finish his introduction, the ambassador couple widened their eyes in a pleasant surprise. They then opened their arms and walked to Jiao Nan. With a gracious and radiant smile, Jiao Nan also opened her arms and hugged the ambassador couple. They even kissed each other on the cheeks. "I miss both of you too. Thank you very much for the previous matter." The group from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs gaped in shock as they watched the close interactions between Jiao Nan and the ambassador couple. Some of their jaws dropped so much they could barely retract them. He raised his brow, his eyes shining brightly. When they were in the department previously, his little junior's expression did seem to reveal that she knew this new ambassador couple personally. So, this matter was true? He was elated over the situation. He felt that it was useless no matter how hard Deng Wenchang worked. Deng Wenchang would definitely become Jiao Nan's accessory today. When Deng Wenchang saw the situation, he stared blankly at Jiao Nan and the ambassador couple hugging and cheek-kissing. That affectionate behavior looked as though they were visiting relatives during the Lunar New Year. One would be able to feel the sincerity from the other party without even using their hearts. Next, he saw Jiao Nan chatting with the couple as if they were old friends. They were no longer talking about national affairs and the two countries' relationship. On the contrary, they were on common topics and showing concern for the recent happenings in each other's lives. Deng Wenchang had directly transformed into wind, blown until he turned into dust and could not be pieced together anymore. Damn! No one told him that Jiao Nan had relatives overseas. Damn! No one told him that Jiao Nan's overseas relatives were coincidentally the ambassador couple today. Damn! Who told him before that Jiao Nan had never studied abroad and did not step out of the country once, that Jiao Nan's maternal family was at the bottom of the ranks, and they were more ordinary than ever? All this wrong information. Damn! Who told him? Deng Wenchang had taken too many blows. Seemingly struck by thunder, he could not recover his senses for a long time and almost needed to be sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. Jiao Nan was on very close terms with the ambassador couple. They were chatting smoothly and amiably. Under such an extremely harmonious atmosphere, a typical person did not even have a chance to interrupt them with one or two sentences. Since Jiao Nan and the ambassador couple were chatting so happily, why would they need another person by Jiao Nan's side to keep the ambassador couple company? Jiao Nan alone would be more than sufficient to settle the couple. In addition, the content of their conversation was too run-of-the-mill. How would typical people know the lifestyle of these two new ambassador couple? What could they talk to them about? Weather. The other people were not bothered. The person in the most embarrassing state such that he could dig a hole and bury himself in it was, of course, Deng Wenchang. Deng Wenchang was partnering with Jiao Nan to complete this mission. At present, Jiao Nan could settle this alone. In that case, Deng Wenchang only needed to sit by the side, drink some tea, watch Jiao Nan take the lead and glory and thrash him. Deng Wenchang gnashed his teeth. Feeling indignant, he lifted his foot and moved forward. He had to give it a try and force his way through even if he could not interrupt them successfully. No matter what, he could not let Jiao Nan snatch all the jobs. He would seem like a freeloader then. However, before Deng Wenchang could make that step, he was stopped by a hand on his shoulder. He Yi, the owner of the hand, smiled. Looking at the current situation, Xiao Qiao can completely handle the situation at hand. Xiao Qiao and the ambassador couple are already so immersed in their chat. It's best that other people don't interrupt the three of them. Otherwise, they will inevitably feel uneasy with the unfamiliarity. We can lose anything except for face, especially those of our own people. Xiao Deng, do you agree? It was seldom that his little junior would wield her power and amaze everyone with a single brilliant feat. She performed so well that everyone else was surprised. Of course, He Yi had to think of ways to protect Jiao Nan and not let others spoil such a stellar performance. After the ambassador couple returned to the embassy, he had to look for and talk to his little junior. How exactly did she get to know the ambassador couple? At this moment, He Yi did not link this situation to his master, Lin Yuankang, at all. This was because he knew that the couple had never been on Lin Yuankang's list of friends. This couple was not very young. They were older than Jiao Nan by slightly more than 10 years. However, to an elder like Lin Yuankang, the ambassador couple belonged to a much younger generation. As such, it was impossible that the two parties had any interaction before. In that case, of course, Jiao Nan's striking performance today did not have anything to do with Lin Yuankang. Without his master's connections and the Zai family's help, how did his little junior get to know the ambassador couple? Regarding this, before he received an answer from the horse's mouth, He Yi could not figure it out despite much thinking. He secretly exclaimed in his heart that this little junior of his was simply a rare gem. There certainly would not be any problem at Jiao Nan's end now. He Yi instructed the rest of the people to pay attention while he quietly left and made a call to the Lin family's residence. "Hello, Master, it's me. Don't worry. Little Junior performed excellently. There is no problem at all. With Deng Wenchang's temperament, how could he not act smart? However, Little Junior is very quick-witted. No matter how Deng Wenchang plots against her, it is not possible for him to succeed." Chapter 1408, Discerning Judgment that could differentiate greatness from mediocrity. As he said this, He Yi felt especially proud. It was as if he, and not Jiao Nan, was the one who did all these things today. How did Little Junior do it? "Master, I don't know too. Actually, Little Junior knows the ambassador couple personally. If it did not have anything to do with you, then Little Junior, where did this interpersonal network and such fortune come from?" Lin Yuankang stroked his mustache. "This did not have anything to do with me or the Zai family. After thinking, it seems that none of those by Nan Nan's side can help her with it. I have already said before that this little junior of yours is very capable. It is possible that Nan Nan got to know the ambassador couple herself and not through anyone." The corners of He Yi's mouth twitched. He felt that his master's words were a little unrealistic. Although He Yi said that, there was a hidden voice in his heart that agreed with Lin Yuankang's words. Tisk. What exactly did his little junior do to become so close to the ambassador couple? Seeing as He Yi could not figure this out, all the more Deng Wenchang could not either. Jiao Nan was chatting enthusiastically with the ambassador couple. The trio even behaved as if this was their home, laughing out loud from time to time unreservedly and without a care for their image. At the sight of this, Deng Wenchang almost had the urge to vomit blood. No wonder. It was no wonder that there was no slightest bit of action at the Zai family for the past week. Jiao Nan also did not look for anyone's help to gather more information about the ambassador couple. So, the truth was that Xiao Nan was already very familiar with them. Under such circumstances, would the information gathered by others be more accurate than what was in Xiao Nan's stomach? One had to know that at this moment. Only what was in Xiao Nan's stomach had the final correct answer. Deng Wenchang could not help grinding his teeth. Considering this, was Xiao Nan cheating? She was like a family to the ambassador couple. Under this pretext, it would be bizarre if he could be of any help in this matter. He Yi and Xiao Nan were clearly fooling and toying with him. Xiao Nan. It must be Xiao Nan. Xiao Nan did it on purpose. Deng Wenchang was stomaching his fury, looking like he was about to explode. The raging fire in his heart could not be extinguished no matter what. At this moment, it looked like it was going to break out any time. Fortunately, the happy conversation between the ambassador couple and Xiao Nan ended. Xiao Nan hugged the ambassador's wife again and looked at the other party's tummy with gentleness in her eyes. After telling her to take care, the other party responded with an extremely heartwarming and happy smile. Without the need for Xiao Nan to prompt, the moment his wife stood up, the ambassador immediately reached out his hands and held onto his wife. It was only until when Xiao Nan personally sent them to the car and closed the door that the entire Ministry of Foreign Affairs team regained their senses. When everyone gradually recovered from their incredulity, they moved forward to Xiao Nan and surrounded her. Come, come, come. Xiao Qiao, shouldn't you give us an explanation? Right, tell us clearly about your relationship with the ambassador couple. We have been colleagues for so long, but why haven't I heard you mention that you have relatives overseas, or who in your family is staying abroad and even have connections with such figures? Do not think that they were blind. It was obvious that from the way the ambassador couple looked at Xiao Nan, they treated her like their own niece. If Xiao Nan did not have any relationship with them, how could such a situation occur? It was obvious that there was something fishy. Having been surrounded by many uncles, with everyone acting like reporters and throwing loads of questions at her, Xiao Nan was only short of having a bunch of microphones in front of her, and she could look like a famous celebrity being interviewed. What overseas relatives? How is it possible that my relatives are overseas? The ambassador couple was related to her? Between the three of them, it was obviously so distant and unrelated. I don't believe it. Look at how close the three of you are. To say that you are not related. You can ask any of us here. Who will believe your words? Confess to us honestly. Xiao Qiao, honestly confess or be treated with hostility. Minister, quickly come over. Aren't you going to say a few words to Xiao Qiao? Coming. He Yi swayed forward with a proud look on his face. 1 year ago, he was the one who insisted on letting his little junior intern at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. At that time, everyone had a strong sense of revulsion toward Deng Wenchang. In the end, if Deng Wenchang had not graduated from a renowned college in America, they would not even be willing to agree to his internship. Who would have known that it was not enough to have one newbie? The minister also pulled in another local student who had not even graduated. Was he not messing around? Everyone was not very approving of it, but he had already made up his mind. Hence, they only dared to keep the negative comments to themselves. It was great now. Today's matter was enough to prove Xiao Nan's capability, and certainly, He Yi's judgment was not poor. Everyone was looking at He Yi in a different light. The minister was indeed the minister. He had a discerning sense of judgment that could differentiate greatness from mediocrity. Although today's problem was not a huge one to begin with, it was much easier to settle some matters where friends were concerned. This was considered a good thing for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Well, everyone had seen for themselves that the other party had such a great attitude toward Xiao Nan. They completely treated her as their junior. Fortunately, the relationship between the two countries was not too tense. If the two countries had any interaction in the future, as long as this ambassador was coming, everyone felt that they did not need to work so hard. The other party would not take the chance to use all ways and means or wield a big knife to mercilessly slash a huge piece of flesh from China. Xiao Qiao, give us an explanation, please. What is happening? However, if it's not convenient for you to tell, all of us will understand too. It might not be convenient for his little junior to tell everyone. However, given his relationship with her, they could have a private talk on this. Yes, yes. This method is excellent and problem-free. Humph, some people are so insidious. She clearly knows them as a family, yet she never told the people in the department about it. She watched her colleagues work so hard and so nervously for the sake of this visit, while she lazed around at the side, looking at us like we're some jokes. I really don't understand why a united department like ours has such a selfish person. Deng Wenchang's voice was slightly hoarse as if his throat had been torn. It gave others strange and uneasy vibes. However, the change in his voice did not muddle others. Everyone could tell who he was directing the words at. Deng Wenchang was putting the blame on Qiao Nan. Blame? Could he not blame her? Deng Wenchang had worked hard for so many days and spent so much time and energy so that he could complete this mission with flying colors. He wanted to subdue Qiao Nan and prove to everyone that he was, in fact, the most outstanding one. Chapter 1409 Celebrate the Victory. He did not expect himself to lose to Qiao Nan, who did nothing. It was all because she was relatives with the ambassador couple. If he had known that Qiao Nan and the ambassador couple were relatives, he would not have indulged in the fantasy of making use of this opportunity to subdue Qiao Nan fully and prove himself to everyone. If he had known that this was the case, he would certainly change his plan, make use of Qiao Nan, and make the ambassador couple focus their attention on him. In that case, the situation of the ambassador couple pulling Qiao Nan to the side and chatting about everything under the sun today would not occur. He was like an invisible figure who stood foolishly by the side, watching Qiao Nan slowly rob away the limelight that belonged to him. After thinking, Deng Wenchang felt that the word insidious could not completely describe Qiao Nan's despicable nature. If heaven had eyes, he should not let a scum like Qiao Nan continue to live in the world and be a stumbling block to others. Deng Wenchang very much wished that what the elders in his family said about heaven's retribution was true. In that case, heaven could bestow lightning and turn Qiao Nan into wooden ashes with one strike. Henceforth, he would be rid of all worries and no longer troubled by Qiao Nan. Ayo, isn't this considered sour grapes? Wrong. It's not just the problem of sour or sweet grapes. Xiao Qiao clearly said that she is someone with grapes. Some comrades are proud and arrogant, looking at others with their nostrils. If they don't have it, they think that others can't have it as well. After someone reminded, many people in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs recalled Qiao Nan's shocked expression when she first saw the photo of the ambassador couple. From her expression then, it was obvious that she knew the two people in the photo. However, no one really believed Qiao Nan at that time. In particular, Deng Wenchang even mocked at Qiao Nan with disdain and sarcasm. He told Qiao Nan not to use such a foolish method to make herself look good, as it would be too shameless. Today's matter had proved that Qiao Nan was not praising herself. She really knew the ambassador couple personally. Besides that, they were on very good terms. Qiao Nan had told them the situation, but Deng Wenchang did not believe it. He even mocked Qiao Nan. Now, he was so sarcastic in his words to Qiao Nan. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Deng Wenchang's words conveyed his extreme jealousy. He was not behaving like a man. I remember that some people not only generate such words but also behave in an ugly manner. Sometimes, I really doubt that, between someone and comrade Xiao Qiao, who is the man and who is the woman. There were many people watching them, and Qiao Nan's behavior was gracious, earnest, and down to earth. On the contrary, Deng Wenchang was spoiled, sensitive, and had excessive pride. He felt that all the seniors in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should fawn on him and nurture him to become the next leader of the department. In addition, they had to help and support him unconditionally in any matter. If anything did not go his way, he would flare up immediately and show a black face. In addition, he was very narrow-minded. He would bear a grudge and find ways to seek revenge. They rarely encountered such newbies. They recalled the times when they first joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They were very courteous and respectful when interacting with their seniors. No one behaved like Deng Wenchang, who looked down on one and detested another. It was as if besides the minister, Deng Wenchang was the only human left in the entire department. At the sight of that behavior, one could not help flaring up no matter how big-hearted they were. A grown-up man competed with a young lady, but he refused to admit defeat after losing. He was utterly shameless. If Deng Wenchang was the young lad in their family, they would definitely take a cane and beat this brat to death. To begin with, everyone felt positive about Jiao Nan and was dissatisfied with Deng Wenchang putting on airs. After today's matter, everyone could not stand Deng Wenchang any further. Minister He, the few of us have always felt that a talent like Comrade Xiao Deng should go somewhere else that is more suitable for him. In this way, he will be able to shine and contribute to our country then. In other words, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was not suitable for Deng Wenchang at all. It was fine if Deng Wenchang continued to stay here and waste his own time. However, it was too unethical of him to add on to their woes. Deng Wenchang's face instantly turned red. Naturally, he understood the implied meaning in these words. He was so furious that he glared at the other party with reddened eyes. At the sight of this, the other party felt the urge to beat him up again. This was a grown-up man. Forget it if he could not win against a young lady. Was he so thin-skinned that he could not even take criticism despite his lack of capability? Was this kind of man still considered a man? It was truly an embarrassment to men. Ha ha ha, no matter what, it is a triumphant first battle for the newbie in our department. Let me give everyone a treat tonight. Of course, He wanted very much to kick Deng Wenchang out. However, that shameless cheap shot of Deng Wenchang today did not manage to harm Jiao Nan. Instead, he became Jiao Nan's accessory. He was the thrown-out brick that lured the gem out. He was in a very good mood today. Although debts had to be repaid, at the very least, it would not be today. It could be tomorrow or the day after. They should celebrate the happy occasion first. Xiao Qiao, given your situation at home, can you attend? He added. At the thought that Jiao Nan was a mother and the 3 children at home were only 3 years old, He was hit by a wave of guilt after suggesting the celebration. He had no choice. His own master had been keeping a watch on him. If he dared to make the 3 babies cry when looking for their mother, his master would make him cry and look for his wife. However, words that were spoken could not be retracted anymore. He was already of this age and could be a grandfather in a few years. No matter what, he could not embarrass himself at this moment. He had to endure. Although spoken words were akin to spilled water, he had to wipe it clean and then squeeze them back into the basin. Everything revolved around the triplets in Jiao Nan's house. They were the most important ones. Jiao Nan was amused as she could tell the nervousness beneath He's eyes. She did not know what her master had told Senior He such that her senior was so nervous when wanting to treat her to a meal. Minister He, don't worry. I will make a call home. No issue. After all, she was a formal employee now. In order to maintain the harmonious relationship between colleagues, it was necessary to have adequate social interaction. Ever since she was a permanent employee, Jiao Nan had gradually communicated to the triplets to make them understand that occasionally, and under very low frequency, she might be home a little late for 1 or 2 days. However, she promised them that she would definitely be home before they sleep to tell them a bedtime story and coax them to sleep. 1410 No one is toasting with you. Jiao Nan's attitude was very sincere. She also treated them like adults and discussed this with them. At the sight of this, and after some consideration, the triplets nodded and agreed reluctantly. However, Minister, I can't reach home too late tonight. It is almost 5 o'clock, dismissal time, now. I have to be home before 8 o'clock. Is that okay? Xiao Nan had not participated in such gatherings before and was not sure how long the fun would go on. Hence, it would not go wrong if she were to specify her condition in advance. Sure, I will definitely let you get home by 8 o'clock. He was overjoyed. It was rare that his little junior agreed to go out and have a meal with everyone and bond with her colleagues. He had some initial concerns. Despite his protection, subtle influence on the team to make them trust Xiao Nan, and Xiao Nan's own capability, he wondered if anyone would feel as indignant as Deng Wenchang and commit petty acts to evict Xiao Nan after Xiao Nan succeeded him. One had to know that relationships between colleagues had to be built by spending time with one another. This kind of interaction was not only restricted to performance during work. During Xiao Nan's internship period, she had never participated in any of the department's activities. However, she was just an intern at that time. In fact, it was not very appropriate for Xiao Nan and Deng Wenchang to join in then. However, He was always supportive of Xiao Nan's usual approachable style of interaction that did not go overboard. The problem was that Xiao Nan was now a permanent employee and some ways of handling things had to change. If he were to continue to defend Xiao Nan the same way that he did during her internship, Xiao Nan would eventually give the colleagues the impression that she was either not easy to be trifled with or too cold and snobbish. It would not be easy to win the hearts of everyone then. Today, He was elated when Xiao Nan agreed to have a meal with everyone. This little junior really made him feel at ease. He had not even reflected this situation to her and the problem was resolved. She had already thought of it. True enough, his decision to pass the baton to his little junior was correct. At the dining table, everyone only allowed Xiao Nan to drink beer as she was still young. The rest drank according to their usual habits. When everyone was holding a glass of alcohol in their hands, someone immediately said, "Come, come, come. For today's contribution, to our minister and our comrade Xiao Qiao, cheers." Cheers, right, cheers. The newbie could chip in and share the responsibilities and burdens with the seniors. Who would not feel happy that someone was helping them out? Cheers, everyone, let's raise our cups. Everyone, including Xiao Nan and He, was in quite a good mood. They thus very willingly stood up and raised their cups. Of course, there was always someone who was a maverick that appeared very unsociable. Deng Wenchang had a stiff expression on his face. It was as if someone had owed him 10 million yuan for a few years. He slowly stood up and raised his cup a little in a reluctant manner. Throughout the entire process, Deng Wenchang was like a dumb person who did not know how to smile or talk. He turned the bustling atmosphere cold. The corners of many people's mouth twitched. They could not wait to strike a kick on Deng Wenchang's buttocks. Everyone was feeling quite happy. No one had forced Deng Wenchang to come. If he was so reluctant, he could go wherever he wanted to. Please do not stay here to be an eyesore and spoil sport. Cheers. Xiao Nan simply ignored Deng Wenchang. She had not encountered many people like Deng Wenchang, but she had interacted intensively with them for 2 lifetimes. The more she treated Deng Wenchang with importance, the more he would kick up a ruckus. He was the same type of person as the Ding Ji and Xiao Zijin in her family. Ignoring such people would make them feel awkward and terrible. In the end, they might not even dare to fart at anyone. In Xiao Nan's views, Deng Wenchang's age was similar to that of a child. The problem was that Deng Wenchang was not born to Xiao Nan and she was not obligated to forgive the sicko Deng Wenchang unconditionally again and again. He loved to pretend. Did he really think that the world would stop rotating without him? What a joke! Xiao Nan was very young and was not very forceful in her tone. At most, it was very clear and crisp. Nevertheless, it could bring on the atmosphere. A second ago, many people's face darkened at the sight of Deng Wenchang's behavior. The next moment, under Xiao Nan's influence, they were ignoring Deng Wenchang and toasting to each other as per their wishes. Clink! The sound of the glasses knocking onto each other was very crisp and clear. It stunned the hearts and livened up the atmosphere. Although Jiaonan was a lady, she was as game as the men. She drained the beer in her glass at once. Many shouted good, at that. Next, wine and toast went around amidst laughter and chats. The atmosphere was harmonious and lively. Everyone was wearing a smile on their faces and speaking with raised voices. The atmosphere was better than before. Of course, besides that exception. During the toasting, everyone had neglected Deng Wenchang. They had raised their cups high while Deng Wenchang was the only one who gloomily and listlessly raised his cup a little. Sure. If he was not willing to toast, they would not toast with him then. Everyone's glasses touched except for that of Deng Wenchang, which remained silent. Thereafter, groups of people engaged in small talks. Everyone had someone to chat with and was chatting eagerly. Deng Wenchang was the only one alone and silent all the time. He did not even say yes or mm. Besides sitting on a bench, occupying a seat and a set of utensils, he was no different from a block of wood. There was no sense of his presence at all. No one was willing to interact with an unsociable individual like Deng Wenchang. No one would be so wretched to do that. Before 8 o'clock, He reminded Jiaonan to go home. Throughout the entire event, besides not holding Jiaonan back from her first glass of beer, He had been keeping a watch on Jiaonan in her subsequent drinks. Because of this situation, a few colleagues teased He. I say, Minister. I know you value talents and care about your juniors. However, aren't you a little overboard? If I am not aware that sister-in-law has given birth to a son for you, and this nephew of ours is still schooling, I am really going to suspect whether Xiao Qiao is your daughter. Besides her father, who would care so much for a young lady? Everyone was men. Whether He's concern for Jiaonan out of a man to a woman or a senior to a junior, no one would make a mistake on this. Hence, there was no misunderstanding. In fact, besides He, many people in the department treated Jiaonan like a junior in their family. Hence, during the drinking session, none of them harbored any ulterior motive or force-fed Jiaonan with drinks just because she was a woman. On the contrary, if Jiaonan did not refill her cup, no one would say that there was no more alcohol and request to refill the cup quickly. In addition, Jiaonan was the only one drinking beer. Hence, they had only asked the waiter to prepare one bottle of beer.